Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, here we go. I am going to. Perfect. Okay. The tech is a thing for sure. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Share. Let me get to my slides. Here are the slides. Let me go into presentation mode. Here we go. All right. Let's go to slide one. I was just running through it all. There's a quick preview. Okay, terrific. Here we are. Today is unlocking your team's genius. This is the second secret to getting speep done with your team. So today we're talking about innovation. It's the heartbeat of a team. And I'm so excited that you all are here because I don't think enough leaders think about this. And I don't think enough leaders create the space for this. So I'm going to take you through what I think is important and what I've seen actually work in the field. And who am I? I'm Marilyn Dollar. Hello. I've spent a couple of decades in CPG. I don't want to use acronyms. So consumer product goods in global marketing. I've been a coach since 2017, both internally and externally. And now I am full-time coaching leadership and their teams on how to develop high performing teams and actually getting to their mission. We try to do it in 90 days or less. That's the goal. So today I want to talk a little bit about the transformative power of fostering an innovation mindset. So let's get started. As you might recall last week, if you didn't have a chance to watch last week's live, please go and watch the replay. I've gotten a lot of feedback that psychological safety is something that is felt but not talked about or addressed enough. And that's where you create the space in your team to be transparent as a leader and to have feedback and communication that fosters more trust so that a team feels safe to innovate. Without this safety, I don't really believe you can unlock your team's genius because they won't have space to innovate, right? With innovation, you realize there's going to be failure. So you kind of have to create this culture of failure first so that people are trying to create something new where there's never been anything before. So I want to talk a lot about that today. And if you didn't get last week's workbook, please download it now. You can take a picture of it with your phone, follow along with your phone and download it from there. Yeah. Okay. Next, let's get started. So it's a while ago. There was a McKinsey Global survey where they surveyed 84%. They surveyed many executives, and they found out that most of them believe innovation is extremely important to their company's growth strategy. And most of us know that is the lifeline to a company's growth, and that's being innovative. However, 74% of them are struggling to innovate. That's a huge problem in growth for the bottom line. If you're not able to really figure out how to get your team to innovate, you're going to be part of the 26 respondents that say they don't do this very well. So let's talk a little bit about why that's a problem. The biggest gap here is, you probably guessed it already, it's implementation. Do you have the boots on the ground to actually implement a strategy of innovation once you get to it? That's a huge problem in most companies right now. So let's talk about how you get there. Well, here's what I've found really works for me and what has worked for many of the leaders that I've coached. And that's how you unlock your team's genius. And that's really fostering this mindset that innovation isn't about one big change, but it's about this holistic approach and creating an innovation culture that you can build on. And that's what this pyramid, this in my mind, this is how I think about it. You create this innovation culture, and then you hire really smart people who are deep subject matter experts. And then you personalize the motivation for each of the members of your team so that they will feel empowered and rewarded for the innovation, right? And so you start to create this cycle of innovation culture where other people are embedding this new mindset. So let's talk about a case study. When I was first working on virtual meetings, we had never had a virtual meeting before. Most of my meetings were done in person. And like most of us, we pivoted to Zoom, and we had a huge gap in how we were going to connect with our top 100 global leaders in a new Zoom environment. So how are we going to do that? Yeah, I wasn't sure. I got tasked with figuring this out from a team who had already started down a path using an app, and I was just going to help them troubleshoot the app. Well, it turns out the app wasn't as intuitive as the company who built the app conveyed. So as we were all trying to figure out how to use this app, I said, you know what? I'm going to go to this online workshop this weekend. I'll report back to everyone what technology they used and what my experience as an end user was. And so I did that. I attended this online meeting through Corinne Crabtree, and it was amazing. I felt very well taken care of in the room that I was in my Zoom room. I was able to hear all of the speakers. We had our own community. There was a tremendous amount of communication. I felt like I didn't miss a beat, and it was a virtual meeting. So I did a little background. I found some of the people that put that meeting together. And I said, okay, well, what can I do? What can I do with this team? Can I figure it out? And so what I ended up doing was I said to my leader, we have something in place. I think it's going to cost more than it needs to. I have another idea. What do you think about this? Both of these technologies, by the way, were unproven. I didn't know how it was going to go. I just had more faith in the workshop that I had been to online and the technology they used because I saw it proven, whereas the app was not proven. And my leader said, yeah, go try it, please figure out how we do this. We have 3 weeks to do this too, by the way, tight timeline. So my boss was like, okay, here's your budget, go for it. And the beauty of that was my leader thought so much about my ability to solve this problem, and it didn't involve her having to get in the weeds of the implementation, of the technology, of coordinating all the parts and pieces, of delivering it on time and under budget. She just trusted me to go and run with it. She had other projects she was working on, right? So what I was able to do then is really dig into who were all the team members that needed to come together to make this right. So obviously we had the technology. I needed a really good project manager who could manage the team in the room, which was a production team. It was videography team. It was all of our global leader speakers from around the globe. It was the connectivity team who were managing the global Zoom rooms. So it was everyone in the room. And then I was able to really manage all the moving parts outside of the room. So we divided and conquered. And I let them fly and do what they did best. I didn't know much of the technology. I trusted they did. So using my leaders trusted me, I then trusted my team. And there was a moment at the beginning of the meeting where the audio didn't work. And we had, I think, maybe 5,000 people on the line at that time. And there was no audio for the first maybe 5 minutes. And there were a lot of thoughts going on that between all of us that were sitting in the room. And I said, you know what? I know the audio team is going to figure it out. We're just going to sit here quietly and let them do that. Let me tell you, there were probably 50 people in the room. For all of us to sit there quietly was not easy. And yet we did. And they figured out they had connected an audio cable to a video line and they were not talking. So they found the audio line, connected it to the audio line, and we were in business. But I trusted my team to figure it out. I could have been running around, pointing fingers, micromanaging, but it would not have gotten us the resolution as quickly or as seamlessly or as stress-free. And then what was amazing is the personalized way that everybody interacted together. My team supported each other. They supported each other in saying, hey, way to go, audio guys. Glad that you found that. That's so great. Good job on that. And at the end of the event, I was able to say, hey, nice job to the team. This is amazing. Cheers to everyone. We had champagne, we had a toast. I had a big circle of people outside of the team, outside of the room, where everyone on the team was there. And I just went around to each person and I said, you did this amazing. You stepped in the gap here. You thought of this and you introduced it in the meeting and it made it so much better. But I knew what every person in the room had done, not just from my own observations, but from other observations of people on the team. Now, let me also remind you, this is not a time to point fingers and say, well, hey, audio team, why didn't you check this the day before or whatever? Not the time. This is only motivation time, right? And that's super important to give your team the space to celebrate each other and to be celebrated by the leader. That's huge. And each person has their own way they like to be motivated and that they like to be celebrated. Find out what that is. That's when you're building the relationship with your team, right? And also, a couple of real power moves that helped me implement that week was telling my project manager what mattered most to me. And I would encourage you to really use this in your own team meetings, right? So the project manager that I hired, her name was Bailey. She was amazing. And what I loved about her was she was a doer. She was an implementer. She was in there. She was ready to go. She's a hard worker. She was in it to win it. And before the meeting ever started, I gave her my expectations. I said, I want this to be a delightful experience for the users that are global, that are online. I want it to be intuitive, an experience they don't have to figure out. And I want it to be something valuable. And she knew that that's what we were trying to do. And she was the event manager. So she managed all those parts in the room. And by letting her know what my expectations were and then stepping back so she could step in, I realized she was way more than just an event manager. She was an amazing communicator. She was a team leader. She made other people in the room feel safe. And she relied on the experts, right? So, as that event coordinator in the room, she could have gone over to the audio guys and said, "Hey, what's happening?" But she knew they were the experts and she let them figure it out because I let her run the show. When something went wrong, she knew exactly what to do. And we knew moving forward how to avoid that the next time. Every day we would have a debrief on that day's meetings. Hey, how could we prevent this from happening? This looked really great, right? We would have this really great debrief from the team. And one of the things that's super important is explaining and aligning on what the roles are with the people's strength. So I knew Bailey was this go-getter, this doer, this strive for excellence in everything she did. And I knew she would bring that strength to boost both the productivity of the team, but for herself, it brought her a lot of job satisfaction. She owned that, right? As I talk about in high performance coaching, one of the most important human drives is the drive for freedom. And through owning something, we have that freedom. When you own something, you are free to do with it what you will, and you want to be successful. And having that power of doing something your way to make it successful will drive you and will let your team drive for innovation. So that's super important. The other piece that I found out is deliver a strength sandwich. So while you're giving some personalized feedback, which I went around the circle that last day and gave personalized feedback, but only on the accolade side. During the meeting, the end of every day, I tried to have more of a strength sandwich. So I would say, hey, audio team, great job figuring out where we were and how to fix it today. Would have loved for us to test run this one more time before we went live. And great that we now have a process for the next step. So see, there's more of a great strength, little disappointed, great that we figured out a standard operating procedure now to move forward. That goes a long way with your team being able to hear the feedback. Otherwise, I could have just said, audio team, really, what happened here? I mean, this is unacceptable. We have 5,000 people listening to silence, all typing in the chat. We don't hear anything. Would not have been helpful. And it would not have fostered an innovative culture or built any kind of trust because then the next time something happened, that's what they're going to be expecting. And you don't want to lay down that type of energy or expert advice from you, the leader, that this is how you want them to treat other people on the team too. And remember, motivation doesn't fit everybody the same. Find out what motivates different people on your team and play to that strength. Even talking with Bailey before the meeting, she was trained as a chef and my son is a chef. And so I know how they can manage multiple things at the same time. Try to get a meal on the table that's hot at the same time, like every dish. That's magic right there. And because I knew that was one of Bailey's strengths, I could really play to that in the meeting. So think about how you can do that with your team. And then also, when you're looking at your current culture, really assess, are people stepping up? Has anybody created something innovative and they shared that with you? And how did you respond? What does that look like? Was it okay, well, that's fine. Or was it hey, great job innovating that? What made you think to even try that? Did you see something? Find out what their strength is and where that came from. Many times you can connect it back to something that they naturally do in their personal life outside of work. And look at the layers of innovation. What's one area that you might be able to improve this week? Maybe it's personalized motivation. Maybe you just take a moment in every team meeting to say something great about everybody in the room. Hey, Maria, I noticed you really stepped up this week in being transparent about what's happening in the organization. I really appreciate that. As a leader that works with you, sharing how you transparently feel makes me feel like I can share how I transparently feel with respect, of course. And then what's a power move that you can implement this week? What's something that you can do that gives your team empowered feedback? And I would encourage you to track these once a week. Take a look at your week and say, who did I motivate? Who did I empower? Where did I give purposeful, impactful feedback? Who did I see implement some innovation or try something new? Did I celebrate any failures? Did I talk about my own failures? Did I share what I've tried this week? What are you as the leader implementing? What have you tried? And did you share whether or not it worked? That's probably the most empowering thing that you can do for your team. Again, I would love if you would download the workbook. This is the last couple of weeks. One of the things that I've really been focused on is helping more leaders help their team and helping them get to a place of innovation and out of the micromanaging. If your team is innovative and doing a great job, you as the leader can really start leading more and micromanaging less. And that's where you need to be. You're the leader. They need your strategy. They need your blue ocean thinking. They need your expertise and your purview into where the company is going in the next steps. And then trust your team to help you get there. Yep. Love, love, love that everyone came and attended this today. I would love to meet with any and all of you. I would love to stay in touch. If there is something that I can help you with, if you're struggling right now with a situational desire that you have, that I'm trying to move the company in this direction, my team isn't motivated, they're not getting there, I can maybe help you unlock a couple of ideas as you're in the middle of something, you can't see it. So I would encourage you, please reach out to me, DM me, set up time with me, download this guide. I'm happy to help you do an audit. If you fill the guide out and you're like, I could just really use a couple of insights. As a leader, I don't expect that you need help getting to the next level because you're already there. I expect that you might need some insight to have a nuance into what's maybe a slight shift that I could make that would have a ripple effect on my team and on the organization. Okay, that is all of the slides that I have for today. I loved seeing everyone. I hope this was helpful. Let me see if I have any questions. Looks great. So much fun. Did you guys find this useful, helpful? Is this something that a topic you would like to see more of? I would love to hear your feedback on that. Please send comments and anything that I can do to support you as a leader. I think this is important work. As a leader, we have an obligation to our team, not only to the bottom line, but to their health and happiness. So have a great day, and I will see you next week as we talk about the third secret in the three secrets to leading more and managing less